Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5 and today I'm reviewing this, the Navaja and its use in Spain. This was first published in 1881 and they call it a small treatise on the art of the Spanish fighting knife. I wouldn't really call it that. It has some cool information in it. Excuse me. It has like basically the different types of edged weapons, whether it be the Navaja, the Daga, the Puña. It gives a description of those here. The Daga is a double-edged dagger. Daga is Spanish for dagger. Puña is it's not defined by its construction or its how many edges it has is defined by its use. A puña is a thrusting weapon, and it can be folding or fixed blade, and they tend to be a little bit more single edge. Trajeras, or scissors, that were used by the Gitanos, or gypsies, and then the Navaja, something that we're all used to, Spanish clasp knife. And they also talk about the different styles of fighting. They got the Barratillo, hope I'm pronouncing that right, the Gitano, and the Sevillano. And it goes into the different styles and kind of describes them, just a brief description. And then they talk about the knife itself, and then they talk about the subculture that this knife was incubated in. And this is more of a travel log of Baron Charles Davillier. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Keep in mind, I'm extremely dyslexic, so reading is not my strong suit. I can read, it's just not the easiest thing for me. But this is more of a travel log, and this guy's writing about some of the things they've seen, but at the end of it, it gets really interesting. This is when it's talking about specific techniques, and these are the puñalades, the thrust. And it's worth mentioning in certain Spanish circles, or puña is slang for a homosexual man. So I thought that was interesting. I was talking to my Mexican friend, or my Hispanic friend. He's born in America, but he identifies as a Mexican. He's proud of his heritage. And I was going over some Spanish terminology because I'm studying Spanish. And he's like, yeah, you got to be careful with the word puña. It can mean to punch, it can mean to thrust, or it can be a homosexual man. And it's a slang for homosexual. And so, I thought that was kind of interesting. But they talk about the different thrusts. And then the tajaros, it talks about the cutting techniques. And those two cutting techniques that I thought were interesting. There was the snap cut, which I've learned from Lynn Thompson and haven't really seen in a treatise, a historical treatise before. At least I haven't noticed it. But the one that was really interesting was the back cut. And they give a description of the back cut. The back cut is an attack with that is unique with the saber, Navaja, and bowie. The back cut describes a left to right back-handed slash delivered with the clipped swedge, which is wrong. Swedges do not cut, false edges do, or false edge of the weapon. Primary targets are the face, throat, and when using knives, as well as the rib cage, chest, when using the saber. Now, this is the first time I've seen the back cut being taught in knife fighting in a historical book. So I thought that was very interesting. I've seen James Keating and Bill Bagwell talk about the back cut, and usually when they do the back cut is usually to the hands, arms, and face. But in historical context, I've never seen a knife that was designed to back cut. Most Bowie knives don't have a false edge; they have a swedge, and they definitely don't have the devil horns or upturned guard like the Morbui. The Morbui is the only one I've really seen like that, with exception to one other. But yeah, I've always thought the back cut was a modern invention, and so I never really. It's a technique, and it does technically work, but it seemed like Bill Bagwell was promoting something that wasn't historical to the Bowie knife, and it's in this book. It's funny that they mentioned the Bowie knife. This is 1881, so it wouldn't be too out of the question. And sabers, but like I said, swedges don't make apex. False edges actually apex and make some sort of edge. So the false edge is what would actually cut. False edge doesn't mean fake edge, it just means top edge. You got your false edge and then your true edge. So, anyways, it was interesting to see the back cut in a historical book. And that's pretty much all the techniques. They have a Navaja lexicon where it goes over Spanish terminology, which is cool. But this book does not have a lot of how-to stuff in it. Face it the right direction. So I wouldn't call it a treatise. It's a travel log, and it gives you more context in the culture that the Navaja, the Punya, and the Daga were incubated in. But if you're looking to learn how to use a Navaja, if you're interested in HEMA, I would not recommend this book. This is for people who are true fanatics of the Navaja, the Punya, the Daga, and stuff, if they want to learn about the people that used them. But it's not a HEMA book. Now, if you want a book that is more HEMA, more treatise, how-to book, you got the Manual del Brato. And this is the art of handling the Navaja, the knife, and the scissors of the Gitanos. And this has a lot of cultural stuff in it as well, but it's more of a how-to book. And this actually teaches you techniques. Now, I haven't read this translation. I got the translation from James Lagaria. This guy right here. But that was an ebook, and they took that ebook away from me because I was transferring my ebooks to different devices every time I updated to a new device. So I decided to get a carbon copy book. This was the only one that was really available in my price range. So I haven't read this translation, but I'm assuming it has the same information in it because I did read the other translation. And it's a cool book. And if you want to learn how gypsies and vagabonds fought with edged weapons, armas blancas. Armas blancas means white arms, which usually means a knife, a stick, or something that doesn't use gunpowder. Armas blancas is white arms, they're cold arms, and armas rojos or red arms or hot arms, which would mean a gun. So this is actually a pretty cool book if you want to look into armas blancas or armas blancas cortas, which is short white arms, which would be knives. So that's it. I'm a Satsu 5, and I'm out.